With our current weather conditions, it takes a real expert to create landscape that'll thrive. Riedel's Garden Center has the staff with the expertise of water requirements for plants, lawns, and landscapes that'll stand up to our changing weather conditions. With 25 years of hands-on experience, owner Darren Riedel will customize a landscape design and irrigation system to meet your expectations and our climate. It's recommended to protect your lawn using Fertilome products available at Riedel's Garden Center, an authorized dealer. Call or stop by Riedel's Garden Center today.
Hello, welcome to the Green and Growing Show. I am Margie Hammerschmidt.
And I'm Pat Tebow.
We're both master gardeners here in Ellis County with the Cottonwood District of K-State Research and Extension. We are wrapping up our 2018 growing season. It's been a great year here for us, especially with the additional moisture that we've had this year. Certainly it's kept things green and growing. This is our last show of the season, and we just wanted to share with you a few remaining tips, things that you can do before the end of the year. Did you have some things you'd like to share with us this morning, Pat?
Sure. Well, here, the month of November is definitely the month to wrap up all our gardening chores, to put our garden and gardening tools to bed for the winter. Even though we're doing that, there is still time to plant any of your spring flowering bulbs that you haven't gotten in the ground yet, such as your tulips, crocus, and daffodils. You also still have time to do that soil test in your garden and time to make any soil adjustments and then do the final tilling. Also, as you're raking leaves, a great time of year to start that compost pile. Some miscellaneous things we need to think about would be clean and oil your garden tools, sprayers, and other garden equipment before you put them away for the winter. You need to drain your garden hoses. And if you are leaving hoses out for the winter, be sure you do disconnect them from the faucets. Your fuel in your power equipment needs to be drained or add fuel stabilizer. With December right around the corner, we'll still have some mild days to take care of some chores that still need to be done, which would be raking leaves, debris off of your lawns so that you're not suffocating your turf for the winter. I have a oak tree that it does not lose its leaves before January the 1st, so I still have quite a bit of raking that I'll be doing. Don't forget to store your lawn fertilizers, pesticides, cool, dry places away from children and pests. And did you keep a garden diary this year? If you didn't, now's the perfect time to reflect on the past year, make notes, see what worked or didn't work, in fact. And with winter around the corner, gardening actually just goes to the birds. And as we're taping today, I did see a hummingbird at my feeder yesterday. And I know it's late in the season, but they're kind of hanging around, putting on a little more fat before they start their journey south. And it is recommended to leave hummingbird feeders out about a week after you've seen your last one, in case there's stragglers that are passing through. They'll have a meal on their journey south. So, I guess enjoy our feathered friends and watch for those seed catalogs.
Yes, we do start getting those,
yes,
and I love
do.
it. I love it. Well, I have a few early winter tips to share about flowers and about trees and shrubs. If you have a rose bed, this is a good time of year to remove any of the fallen leaves, any of the dropped foliage that's at the soil line beneath your rose beds. That's the best way to reduce the spread of plant disease next spring. And then also cut back the canes of your roses, your taller roses like your climbing roses or your hybrid tea roses. Cut them back to 18 or 24 inches, and this will just reduce damage to them as the winter winds might whip them and hurt them through the winter. And then after several hard freezes, you can add a tower of soil around the trunk of the rose plant to protect it, particularly a grafted rose, to secure it for the winter. Just keep it nice and warm and cozy. Don't take that soil from directly around the rose plant. Instead, bring in additional soil. If you remove just the soil and tower it up, you'll be exposing those tender roots around the plant. So instead, bring in additional soil to protect that graft. And then just be sure to remove that soil in the spring when the weather starts warming up again. Remove frost-killed annuals. You can add those to the compost pile as well, so long as they're not disease-ridden or full of insects. Do go ahead and remove and destroy the leaves of iris plants and of your peonies. Go ahead and cut your peonies and just destroy those. Don't add those to your compost pile. Again, that's a good way to prevent the spread of plant disease for those two plants. Add organic material, well composted or degraded manure or compost or peat moss around your annual flower beds until that end. That will improve your soil structure. And then depending on your gardening style, you can either leave perennials or cut them back 4 to 6 inches above the soil line. And particularly for newly planted perennials, you will want to mulch those for the first year or two. Those root structures are not very robust yet. They're really tender. And as the winter freezes and thaws occurs, it might cause those plants to lift out of the soil and just breaking those tender roots. So if you give them a nice warm blanket through the winter, that will protect them and keep them from heaving through the winter. If you have any plantings in any outdoor clay or ceramic pots, you will want to that are outdoors, you will want to remove the contents of those pots, clean it out to decrease the spread of plant diseases, and then move those pots into protected areas like a garden shed or a garage. If you leave those out and moisture gets into those, that will cause those porous structures to absorb that, and it would cause those to crack or damage the pots. Around trees and shrubs, now's a good time to check your mulch layers that you have around those and replenish it only if needed. Remember, the roots do need oxygen, and so you don't want to smother those roots. So the mulch layer should only be 3 to 4, maybe 5 inches deep. But most importantly, it's good to not have that mulch layer up against the bark of the tree. You want to keep a rim maybe 4 to 6 inches where you can actually see the root flare and then the soil line. If instead you've pulled that mulch up against the bark of the tree, that's going to cause that bark to soften over time and degrade, and then that will be a prime environment for insects and plant diseases to come in and infest your tree. So you don't want that. So make sure you keep your mulch away from the bark of the tree. Any time of year is a good time to remove dead branches or dangerous branches, but don't do any significant pruning of any of your trees or shrubs now. Wait until late winter, February or the first part of March to do that. There's several reasons for that. One is there's no foliage on the plants at that time, so you can really take a good look at the roots or the limb structure and decide how you want to cosmetically prune that tree. At that time of year, the cuts will also callus over very quickly. And anytime you do pruning, it's going to encourage new growth, new foliage growth. And if you had done those cuts late summer, early fall, it will put on the plant will put on that new growth, and then it will be killed by the winter because it's because of the drop of temperature. Where if you wait and do it in the spring, that new growth, it'll be warming up and it will survive. If you have any trees or shrubs that will be flowering in the spring, wait till after they have flowered before you prune those off. Otherwise, you won't have flowers that year. If we have snow this year and you're snow blowing that, don't blow the snow directly onto the foliage or onto the limbs of the trees and shrubs. Instead, blow that to the base of the plants to put the moisture down by the roots. Otherwise, it might damage the limbs if you have a heavy snow load. Check and protect the trunks of young trees and shrubs that you've planted from rabbits. So if you have a lot of rabbits, and you anticipate maybe some potential damage, go ahead and be proactive. Put some chicken wire around the base of the plant, have it up 2.5 to 3 inches, secure it to the ground so that the rabbits can't burrow under it. If the rabbits get to that, they can actually girdle the tree and could cause the tree to die. Young trees also with tender bark like honey locusts and your fruit trees benefit from a tree wrap that keeps the sun from scalding them, actually from sunburning them through the winter. If we do not have much snow this winter, any moisture, remember your trees and shrubs do need moisture, particularly newly planted ones because they don't have that robust root system. Even mature trees and shrubs need moisture, so keep them hydrated through the winter. And then one last fun point, you can prune the branches of evergreens like your junipers, pines, and hollies and bring those branches indoor for the winter to enjoy the release of the aroma through the warm air. Well, I think that's it for our tips today. The Master Gardeners would like to thank you, our viewers, for watching us this growing season. I think gardeners are always looking forward to the next growing season. I know I've already been planning my 2019 planting beds. And we hope you will be able to follow us again next year on our program, where we will share with you some sound horticulture advice that we've learned from K-State Research and Extension. And we hope you've enjoyed watching our Green and Growing show. Thank you for watching.
With our current weather conditions, it takes a real expert to create landscape that'll thrive. Riedel's Garden Center has the staff with the expertise of water requirements for plants, lawns, and landscapes that'll stand up to our changing weather conditions. With 25 years of hands-on experience, owner Darren Riedel will customize a landscape design and irrigation system to meet your expectations and our climate. It's recommended to protect your lawn using Fertilome products available at Riedel's Garden Center, an authorized dealer. Call or stop by Riedel's Garden Center today.